And Jesus said, "Blessed is the lion which becomes man when consumed by man, and cursed is the man whom the lion consumes, and the lion becomes man." This cryptic saying is the seventh logion from the Gospel of Thomas, a book considered heretical by some. This gospel is not like any of the others. It has no talk of saving of sins, of the crucifixion, of Jesus' earlier life, of Roman centurions. Instead, it's all what you would call just wisdom sayings. And this is one of my favorites. So whether you're religious or not, I do believe that this saying can have a lot of meaning for you. It is something that we can apply in our lives. And I'd like to go through it because I also think it's one of the most misunderstood sayings within the Gospel of Thomas. So if you go on Google and you look at this, well, first, let's talk about the obvious. The obvious is that we cannot take this at face value because what is Jesus saying, or whoever wrote this wisdom saying? It says Jesus, but whoever wrote it, what is it saying? Blessed is the lion which becomes man consumed by man. Are we supposed to eat a lion? Obviously not. This is some heavy symbolism. So when I look at this, the first thing I think of is when you read about this is written by Gnostics, okay? So the Jesus in this book would be a Gnostic Jesus. And Gnosticism had many different shapes and forms. And some Gnostics had the idea that the physical was terrible, that the physical world was a prison. However, it's thought that the Gospel of Thomas was not written by these types of Gnostics. Now, this is going to be important because the lion here is the most important symbol. And the lion, I believe, represents something called the demiurge. And the demiurge is this guy over here. It's a lion's head on top of a serpent. And this is actually a drawing of the demiurge from a long time ago. And the concept of the demiurge, which is really just a creative principle, the creative force that would have made all of creation, it predates Plato back into ancient Egypt, okay? It's a very interesting idea, essentially that God, in a sense, had an architect, and the architect is what actually created the physical universe. And in the sense of Gnostics, they called this architect Yaldabaoth. But understand that they didn't think that Yaldabaoth was an actual physical being or a being at all. They just gave these forces of nature a name, like many other religions do, because that makes it easier to relate to. But this Yaldabaoth was not a person or a being or a thing. It was a creative principle. It was a concept. Some would say it's a thing because it created everything physical. Okay, but that's where we want to look at, is that the idea that Yaldabaoth, this demiurge, was the creator of all things physical. Okay, and I did go on something called DALL-E, which is an AI image generator, and I had it whip me up some ideas of the demiurge, of the lion-faced demiurge with the serpent's body. So I hope you enjoy these. So now that we know that, right, we're having the lion consumed by man. Well, what could that mean? How could this Yaldabaoth be consumed by man, this demiurge? Well, remember that man, you and I, so that could just mean human or it could mean life, has a nature that even if you're an atheist, you have to admit is not explained scientifically yet, and that is consciousness. Consciousness, self-awareness, these are things that nobody knows where they come from, okay? Nobody knows how unconscious, unself-aware matter creates self-awareness, creates consciousness. And so definitely in the time of the Gnostics, they would have recognized this. They recognized this ability, this difference between the physical world and the consciousness that they possessed, okay? And so when you look at this, you have man who has this consciousness to him, and he's in this physical world, okay? And from my own personal experience, I have found that when you make everything about this world, when you are consumed by this world, i.e., all you care about is the physical. All I care about is going out and having fun with my friends, with drinking and smoking, pot, and, buying a new car and buying clothes and going on trips and eating food and having coffees and things like that. When I get consumed by all of the physical nature of this world, of the systems of this world, right? What happens? What happens to you when that's all you think of and you don't ever work on yourself? Don't ever work on your consciousness, on what's different in you from this physical world. Well, I think that you are definitely cursed. That is what happened to me, okay? I never worked on my spirituality. I never worked on my mental side, okay? And if you're an atheist, when I say spirituality, you can just think of it as working on your consciousness, okay? I never worked on those things for myself, okay? And I ended up in a literal hell. My life was hell. I was a person who would go out in my 30s. I was trying to run away from my problem of drinking. And I started running 70, 80 miles a week. I'd run 9 miles a day at least. Okay, I'd go out in the woods and just run as hard as I could, as far as I could. What was I running from? I was running from my problems. And I would sit there and I would just bury my head, in my thoughts. And I'd just be practically not even seeing any of the world. I was conscious, but I was really unconscious, right? I was thinking about yesterday. I was thinking about tomorrow. I was thinking about all my regrets. All I was thinking about was this world. I couldn't take it, right? I couldn't handle this world. It had become too much for me. I was consumed by this world. And so I was trying to escape it. And then I would always fail, and I'd go back, and I'd end up getting drunk, and I'd end up getting a bunch more regrets and things like that. Okay? But you know what I wasn't doing? I wasn't working on my consciousness, on my spiritual side. I would attempt to, but I would never stick to it. So I was definitely consumed by this world. And I was in hell. I was cursed, okay? And what Jesus is saying there is that the demiurge, the creative principle, right, which is replicated in every single one of us, is also cursed if I let it consume me, right? Because the demiurge is not a person. It doesn't have consciousness. It doesn't know right from wrong, right? And so when I just let this automatic force consume me, it's cursed, okay? Because it stays at that lower level, right? But if I start working on myself, on my spirituality, on my mental side, on my mental health, right? All of a sudden what happens? I can see my purpose in this world, okay? And that's what's happened to me in the last year. I went from a person who basically would have been happy to disappear into, like I like to say, just blow away, evaporate into the ether, to a person who gets up every day now and looks forward to that day, to spending time with my family, with my kids, with my friends, with trying to help other people. Okay, these are things I look forward to now. And the only reason that this happened is that I started working on myself. Okay, so I had to consume the lion. I had to master the lion. I had to look at this world and understand what it is. Okay, I had to realize that there is nothing in this world that can satisfy me, that will make me happy, that only comes from within. Okay, and I know that sounds so cliche, but that is the truth. And if you've lived long enough, I guarantee you'll run into that. Okay, well, you'll go out and you'll do all these things, and they might give you momentary happiness, but it's not lasting. True happiness, true satisfaction only comes from within. Peace only comes from within. Lasting peace, okay? And that, I believe, is what Jesus is saying to us. This demiurge, this creative principle, okay, would be replicated through all of this conscious life on this world. And consciousness, as far as I'm concerned, you can debate me if you want, I think consciousness is the next level, right? So we have physical matter, and then you have consciousness. And so this physical thing, the demiurge, creates the physical universe, right? It's kind of, in a way, it's blind, it's dumb, it's in the darkness. And consciousness is the light. And if we let our light be consumed by the darkness, be enveloped by it, then the blind is cursed, right? We're cursed and the lion's cursed. But if we take our light and we spread it throughout the darkness, right? We take it to this physical nature and we overcome it. We integrate it. Then the lion is blessed when it's consumed by us. Okay? So what I think this is just saying simply is that the creative principle is within all of us. And it is our duty to work on ourselves. Okay? And when you do that, you have to take it seriously. I can tell you that I avoided it. It was the one thing I avoided for years and years and years. I thought that running would fix it. I thought drinking, I knew that wouldn't fix it, but I thought maybe it could help it, make it escape from it. I thought getting a good job could fix it. All these types of things. It didn't. It didn't fix it until I started looking within and addressing some of these issues. Okay, so that's what I got for you today. Let me share another image of this. This is from Dali. So here's another idea of the lion face demiurge on top of the serpent's body. And Dali is an image generator. I really like it. And then here, I thought of us, right? Us humans, those of us who are in, right? We're in the darkness. We're trying to bring light to it, right? The darkness isn't bad. In a sense, it's not a moral thing. I'm not morally judging the demiurge. It just is ignorant, right? It's a physical thing. It doesn't have an intellect. We have intellect. We have a mind. It does not, right? And so our job is to bring light into this, to bring it to the next level. And so that's a picture of us there. We're coming into the darkness and we're bringing light with our consciousness. So, okay, that's what I got for you today. I hope all of you like this video. Be sure to share it if you think it's interesting. If you don't like it, go ahead, hit the dislike button. But please, if you do that, let me know down below what you don't like about it. And if you have any other questions or comments, feel free to message me on here. Thank you very much. Have a great day.